Welcome to the Mojo for Musicians podcast from Manny Cabo Media, where we dig deep into today's top strategies to help you take your music career to the next level, along with real, raw, and uplifting conversations with industry professionals that are making moves, making a difference, and making the best versions of themselves to inspire you to do the same. And if you have a voice with a powerful message to share with the world, then head on over to tinyurl/Mojo Official Discord for the best community of voices in the metaverse. Support for the Mojo for Musicians podcast comes from Stedman, tools for the studio and beyond, because your voice deserves to be heard. Sennheiser, inspired by music. And Cranium, scientifically designed products for bald, shaved, and buzzed heads. So get your head in the game and own your dome. And now, here's your host, Manny Cabo. All right, Mojo Maniacs, welcome back to another rockin' episode of Mojo for Musicians, a source of inspiration for my ecosystem of artists around the globe. And as always, I want to thank my sponsors and, of course, all of you out there that continue to listen, to review, to rate, and to share this podcast and content to all those in need of it. And remember, guys, I have a free Mojo Music meditation available to all of you for free. That's right, for free. And I specifically created it to reprogram my subconscious mind. And I have been able to do some epic things over the past few decades. And now I'm offering it to you again for free. So download it, use it, and watch your lives change as well. Because I created it with all the love and passion in the world. And I'm sending it to you guys, so you guys can manifest your dreams and desires as well. So just go to mannycabo.com/podcast, scroll to the bottom, and there it is in all its glory. Now go change your lives. But now, onto our incredible guest. Yes, in my opinion, he's the biggest thing to come out of Sweden since IKEA. And man, it's a big deal because I love IKEA. And he's giggling for those of you, excuse me, who's going to see the video now. He's a brilliant pianist, a multi-platinum producer, and also one of the pioneers in the music NFT space, who is assisting other artists like myself to embrace and leverage this new space of music making in creating digital assets. So please help me welcome to the show the incredible talents of Songs of Eden. What's up, my man? Welcome to Mojo for Musicians.
Thank you. And what a nice introduction. Oh my God, I'm blushing over here in Sweden. Thank you.
Stop. You're so humble, man. This is one of the reasons why I love having you on here. You know, it's funny for those of you listening out there, we've been trying to make this happen for a few months now. But as you know, in our industry, coinciding schedules is just a commonplace. And as a matter of fact, I'm squeezing you in. I should say you're squeezing me in before you go back on tour. So thanks for making this happen, brother.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's sometimes it happens. But I mean, if you wait for something good, you can wait for a long time. And here we are.
Yeah.
Happy to be here with you.
I couldn't agree with you more. Tomorrow is never promised. So we need to leverage today, correct?
Exactly.
All right, dude. So listen, let's jump right in. I've been following your journey for some time now, and I have to tell you, you have some of the most, how do I say it, entertaining reels on Instagram. And if you guys haven't viewed his profile yet, just go to Instagram. It's really entertaining, chock full of entertaining segments, and some of them so comical. And I can tell you, one of my favorite reels, incidentally, is the one with the mom, right? She has this little drawing of a child. You know, it's handwritten. You could barely read it. You know, it's completely not legible. But nonetheless, you can see the musical notes there, right? And she's like, I want to know if this makes any sense to anyone out there. Can somebody translate this musically for me? And you did, and it was actually pretty badass, right? And then you gave it 2 thumbs up, and I love that stuff. And I'll tell you why, because one of my favorite elements about you, and as many artists out there and their personality, is that you embrace the comical side. And I think that's such a great icebreaker, you know, and it draws a lot of engagement for an artist. So my first question is, like, how did it all start for you? You know, like, why the piano? Did you have some influences in your life growing up? Where did your devotion for the keys come in? Tell me.
It actually started back in kindergarten. I can't really remember it myself, but that was what my parents told me. And luckily I had nice parents that actually, after a little bit of asking back and forth, they brought a piano to our home. And since that day, I've been kind of stuck with the keys. And
really? Was it like that little, you know, like the Peanuts and Charlie Brown, the little Schroeder piano on the floor? You had a full-blown, you know, piano life size.
Yeah, I have what they call like a chamber piano. I think it's called. So it's
Gotcha.
kind of a full size piano, but still not as like a big upright. But that's still around at my parents' like summer house.
Really?
So we still have it. Kind of out of tune, but it's still around. So brings back a lot of memories. And I
Oh,
think
I'm sure.
that's so powerful with the piano that I kind of enjoy it even
I can imagine
daily.
the stories that thing must be able to tell, man. Do you have it with you there, or you said at your parents' house?
Yeah, it's down on their summer house. So
Oh,
I'm
that's
going there in
fantastic.
a few weeks. So then I will play that out of tune piano once again. So
Yeah,
it's a
you
lot of
got to
fun.
make a reel out of that. I mean, now I'm asking you to. You got to be on there. As bad as it sounds, just make something, make some magic out of it, because that's just a great story in itself.
Yeah, I could actually do that. I kind of like those, like histories connected with everything. So
Yeah,
that could be like a nice, more maybe a serious kind of reel that just tell about how things
absolutely.
started and yeah.
How about this? How about this? We do another segment. We'll get you on here live with that piano that we're alluding to right now. I think that's a good idea. What do you guys think? Yeah, yeah. We get some nods here.
Yeah, let's do that. I will be there, and they have decent internet, so definitely I'll be there. I'm going to Mallorca first with the family for a week. Then after that, I'm gonna spend a week or two together with my parents. So
Yeah.
definitely, I'm game to do that.
So let's do that. So so obviously the piano was something that started your career, and obviously created this evolution of who you are and define you. So I guess, let's touch upon the topic that many of the artists, including myself, would love to address. Now, you've reached this platinum level status, right? So, cutting to the chase, how did that happen for you? Like, was it a collaboration, an amazing opportunity, one of those, I don't know, $1 million ideas that we all have that you serendipitously, receive from the powers that be, or simply, the most common, of course, consistent grinding? Because I do find those stories to be fascinating from an inspirational standpoint. So please share.
I think for me it comes to basically pivoting and not try to, like I see a lot of my friends that kind of get more whining, maybe be a harsh word, but
Mm,
when the industry changes, you kind of have to just adjust, and that's kind of my mindset that music isn't like if I mean you're lucky if you can make it a living out of it, but with that comes like an adjustment. And when it came to the platinum records, Sweden was kind of big and still are when it come to like the A-list
sure.
artists in the world, and I was kind of in the B or even the C league there where you could make some songs, and I was lucky enough to have a few number ones over the world. But this was a few years ago, and now the industry has gone down, and instead of like whine about it, I just try to maneuver and try to find new ways. And
See, now I
so
love that. I got to cut you off because it truly is. That's an integral part of the success of anything. I mean, not even just in the music. And fortunately for me, a lot of my friends in doing what we've been doing, you and myself, for decades, they're like, dude, how do you continue to do this as a podcaster, as a musician, as a speaker in the musical space? Because it is difficult, and COVID really hit us all hard, putting everything in a standstill. But I always said, my superpower has been to be a chameleon, learning to adapt to these different situations. And I couldn't agree with you more. And instead of sulking and focusing on the void of what we don't have, there's nothing out there right now. We can't tour, we can't perform. People learned new pieces of software. People took the time to write out some new music, to reach out and collaborate, which, by the way, is my second superpower. Working with other people, talking to people like yourself that have endured this transitional period, because you really, really do. You can't be deterred by changes in the industry. People are.
it won't help. It
It
won't help.
won't.
Like
It really won't. People are afraid
if
to change. But go ahead, finish what you were saying.
yeah, I'm just thinking if you start to for instance, complain about streaming, that won't bring the CD back. Or
Yeah.
if you complain about your let's say your Instagram reach, that
Right.
won't help. They want magical like change. You just have to like face the fact and adjust and try to do your best.
No,
That's all we can
absolutely.
do, right?
I think that artists are focusing on the wrong numbers. Everyone's focused on how many streams they're getting. Everyone's focused on how many followers I'm getting. Instead, focus on the followers that you have, those really true fans that you currently have, and focus on engaging with them, asking them what do they want to hear. Because that connectivity, that
relationship that you build with your true supporters, and you know the rule. You know, you don't need 1,000,000 followers. 1,000 committed fans that create this family of supporters for you is all that you need to sustain. But I think we're so focused in these aesthetic metrics of, well, you know, I only have 6,000, 7,000 followers. You know, a lot of these artists have 20, 30, 40, a million, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
And that's great and dandy. Don't get me wrong. That's definitely helpful. But there is also a lot of artists that have bought, you know, these followers. So
True.
you really can't measure your success using somebody else's ruler. You know, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, 100%. And I've been through it myself. And it's after a while, it's even hard to keep up. Like it happened to me with Instagram, with TikTok and YouTube and so forth. And at the end of the day, it's impossible to just sit and reply to hundreds and hundreds of comments. And then people might feel unseen, that you don't see them. And that's something that I've been struggling a little bit with. Like I had an amazing Instagram community, but after a while when I grew, I couldn't just keep up with replying to everybody and so forth. And then I just get a sense that people felt that I didn't see them in a way. So
now wait a second. That's actually really interesting. So how did you handle that? Like, obviously, you know, certain fans, once they reach out and you respond to them at first glance or whatever, they kind of get this connectivity with you, right? They're like, oh my God, he responded to me, so let me respond back. So obviously, as time elapses, you know, and it's true, you can't really answer every single message. I do my best. I really, really do. Even since my days of being on The Voice, I would take a week to 2 weeks to respond to 5,000 messages. And, you know, realistically, that's tough to do, especially when I'm managing 3 different types of careers. So throughout that journey, I've actually hired assistants, you know, let them know what I would like to see in the responses, because you don't want to lose touch with that. So how do you handle that hurdle?
I actually had the same mindset. Like I try to do it as much as possible, and at least like the comment or give it a heart, so at least people feel that you've seen it in a way.
Acknowledgement, right?
Yeah, but I'm still behind like thousands of comments on YouTube. So like when I'm on the bathroom or I'm cooking or something, I try to do a few but it just keeps on growing more and more. So it's really hard. And you know, people are fast to get disappointed and so forth. And that's kind of the worst scenario. And what to do? It's a tricky one. It's a really tricky one. And I don't really like to hire someone. I really like when it comes from me in a way, but
I agree.
That could be a solution, of course, but
I agree.
It's a tricky one.
No, it is. You know what has helped me, though, I'll share with you one of my tactics. I've compartmentalized my days. You know, if I didn't do that, to be honest with you, I've learned from some of my mentors growing up that compartmentalizing certainly helps because it keeps you focused. Now, the caveat is you can't be distracted. Like one day, I will do nothing but my podcast interviews. I mean, nothing. The next day, I only video and do all the editing. On I'd say Wednesday, I'll only record my music, my originals. I record my reels on a certain day. But you have to stick to that schedule because you know how it is. We get so easily, you know, distracted by an email, by a tweet, or by an Instagram message, or, you know, my mom's calling me or whatever. So it takes a certain degree of discipline. So that's something that you could probably incorporate because I've done that. I feel it's very, very important to always embrace the audience and sustaining that relationship because essentially these are the people that have allowed me to continue to do what I do, that have allowed me to sit here with you and have this conversation. So it's kind of my way of saying thank you for the support. Totally grateful for you supporting my career, you know, as an artist. And I really do. I think it's an integral part of my success and my growth throughout the years. So I'm glad that you at least acknowledge that for your fan base as well.
Yeah, it's a great thought, and I try to implement it as much as possible. And one word I hate is like the word multitasking. That's something I think of daily. It could be something simple like cleaning the kitchen table. Then it's easy to, when I'm on the way, then I see something else, then I see something else, and then you end up do all these kind of other things. So you just have to now I do this thing and this thing only until I'm done.
Yeah,
then
you got to put those horse blinds on, man, and just be like, what?
Exactly.
No, there's nothing going on here. Just keep whatever's in front of you in focus, man. It's tough to do. It really is, man.
Yeah, it really is with all the social media and all things. But I think it's super important to really, when I make music, then I only make music. When I reply to the comments, I only do that. So basically, try to have the
What are your
same
fans
idea.
like with respect to what you do? Because, like I said, you're pretty animated and entertaining. And this is actually a good segue to this question. But what is it that your fans truly love about you in Songs of Eden?
I would hope at least that is like the positive side. I try to bring something funny or happy and positive and
Right.
to the table, both with the music and the content. And
Which is what I love about you, man. You got my attention, so you're definitely doing something right.
Yeah, and also try to have like a serious side, like we hear all those. Like now with the Web3, you spend a lot of time maybe in Twitter Spaces, and people are complaining about someone unfollowing you or those kind of. That's kind of a mission too. That I just try to like, hey, people, 2 billion people don't have fresh water, and you're sitting here complaining
Yeah,
about
exactly.
someone unfollowing you. It's like, so that's kind of a mission too I have, or what I'm trying to bring as more of a like a serious note to the.
Well, listen, we're definitely cut from the same cloth. I mean, my biggest goal has always been to inspire, empower, educate, which is the impetus behind this podcast. You know, interviewing people like yourselves that have made some huge ripples in the industry. And I want to share this knowledge with the community because when I started this industry, we didn't have YouTube. We didn't have Google. We had nothing. We really needed to figure it out, literally.
Yeah.
We didn't have any sources. We had to scrape the pavement, you know, walk to jobs, you know, giving our CDs, selling cassettes out of trunks, whatever it is that we had to do. Nowadays, I don't really think that they fathom. Quite frankly, I know that they don't fathom what we went through. Like, what do you mean? I mean, it's easy. You go online. I mean, that's the whole thing. We didn't have going online. So,
exactly. You can basically post something on social media and
Exactly.
go viral, and you don't have to talk like some record label guy in a suit that just look at you like you're a nobody. So yeah, I mean, it's easier than ever for anybody, and people. Yeah, basically, as you said, people don't seem to understand that like it's really up to you. And another thing is it's free advertising. Basically, you don't have to pay a single penny to make a reel, right? And you can have millions of people see it. So
absolutely.
why
I mean, the
not
key is
utilize
getting viral content, but you can't worry about that stuff. You just literally have to consistently put out the best content that you can. But yeah, in a nutshell, it really is. You have all the access in the world to leverage this community. And you know, Rick Barker, who used to be Taylor Swift's manager, an amazing icon, I've had him on the show. He also says, listen, there are no dependencies on record labels anymore. You know, they don't develop artists like they used to. It's up to you, the artist, to leverage these platforms, to build your numbers, to build your engagement, to keep putting out great content. So yeah, certainly the pressure is on us as the creators, but you have so many outlets out there. Whoever doesn't want to be successful in this career is because they're lazy. I'm going to call everyone out there. I don't care how much backlash I get because the ones that are going to give me backlash are the lazy ones. So I could really give two shits, you know. But you got to put in the work.
Definitely. And on the other hand, I think one aspect that I try to implement is basically to also look at the trends, look at the analytics, and kind of learn from that. But of course, be true to yourself and do the content that you really enjoy and think represents you. But try to tweak it just with those tiny tweaks to just make it possible for it to go viral, which I think a lot of people are forgetting about. They think like I made the best song or I made the best art or this or that. But at the end of the day, if no one sees it, it doesn't really matter. I mean, if you want to be sell it or have people listen to it.
Well, sure. And the beautiful thing is it's evergreen. Like just because they don't see it now doesn't mean like a year from now, somebody's not going to come across and be like, whoa, did you ever hear this guy Manny Cabo or Songs of Eden? This is amazing. Then they'll look up more. And then all of a sudden you have this huge surge. So many artists have talked about that. You know, the Beatles toured for 10 years. Nobody knew who they were. Ed Sheeran was selling CDs and playing and living on couches. Nobody knew who he was. You know, so there's always a possibility. But I think another element of why so many artists fail, and I'd like to get your take on this, is because they quit too early. You know, they feel like it has to happen overnight. And man, they couldn't be further from the truth.
Yeah, I think that. And another thing I like to preach is basically create without any expectations. Like we hear it all over and over, like you kind of almost get pissed that people don't listen to your music. But I mean, it's not written in the law that someone should listen to my music. It's like a bonus if they do. So that's what I always try to preach is create without any expectations, so to say. Just
do it because you love it.
Yeah, and if people resonate, they do, and then of course you can tweak it so it get in front of more people. But kind of, and once again with the Web3 space, that's what we see over and over. Like people are disappointed, and worst case scenario, even mental health issues and depression, because they kind of expect something to happen and never expect anything.
Let me cut you off because that's actually a great segue into my third question, related to the NFT space and your involvement with non-fungible tokens. And because till this day, a lot of people have no idea. So that in itself, it's kind of a deterrent, right? Dealing with the unknown. But I myself, being a part of an NFT community, as you know, because this is how we started our relationship. I'm affiliated with the Giraffe Tower, led by our fearless leader Gary Henderson, who's worked with some of the top personalities like Lewis Howes, Gabby Bernstein. Way too many to list here, but there certainly are a myriad of opportunities for liquidity, investing. And incidentally, I've had the honor of having, I don't know if you know her, Violetta Zironi, who's one of last year's NFT Musician of the Year nominees. And she joined me on the show. And she's doing extremely well in the space. But I want to hear from you and how you manage to leverage this technology. And of course, lending your assistance to artists like myself to better understand the potential of monetizing through NFTs and the blockchain world.
I think for me it comes basically down to like using the technology without talking about the technology, if that makes sense.
Good point.
I think that's what many people do. Like this is decentralized and this is Web3 and this is NFT, and honestly 99.9 people don't give a shit about it. It's just words. Like when we're on a website, we don't say now I'm on HTML or now I'm in Web2. We don't use those words. So I try to just utilize, for instance, now we're like making music together. We're making a music video together in the metaverse. So basically, try to do fun things and build like a community mainly based of love and creativity, and not focus at all on like sales. And the sales are happening. We're already selling on the secondary market, but not have that as the focus, to not be like responsible of some kind of money-making machine, rather than like a joy and good vibes kind of thing.
I'm going to have to reach out to you because, being part of the community is great. I own probably around a good 68, close to 70 NFTs. I just minted one the other day with our technology, but I'd be really curious because I myself am looking to delve deeper into the music NFT space. So this is going to be a conversation that's certainly going to be continued off this podcast. But explain to me, what are the hardships of that? What are the amenities about that? Why should artists look into creating musical NFTs, in your personal opinion? And what have you done to leverage your career using NFTs?
I think basically the technology can open up so many, you can see how many times someone has listened to a track and reward them, basically things that you can't do. I mean, I can't reach out to Spotify and say, hey, can you reward every 5,000 listener or that? And also the fact that we can create it together and get a good community. And another big mission I have is basically letting everybody be on a good song, a good music, because that's something that really makes me sad. That a story I hear basically weekly, that it could be like a music teacher telling you in first grade that, hey, you can't be in the choir or you're singing out of tune. And so that's something that is warm to my heart, to try to prevent that, because people usually laugh about it. But the funny thing, like this last song, we were 38 people, and I would say 35 of them had kind of the same story. Like, no, I can't join the song, I can't sing. And usually it's could be even a parent that gave you a bad comment like 30 years ago, and that kind of sticks with you your
really
whole
does.
life.
Hey, I was verbally bullied by teachers. My teachers thought I was mentally disabled at the time. They're like, your kid, he's out of control. They wanted to medicate me. And my parents said, what? The kid needs a bicycle, needs to go outside and just get that energy out of there. I'm fine.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, even the doctors try to keep me away. I've been an underdog since even before I was born. I was a potential abortion waiting to happen. They didn't want to have me in this world. So believe me, I completely empathize with what you're saying. Unfortunately, those comments do dig deep, and they still stay in your
people often kind of laugh about it, but when you dig deeper. So that's kind of one of my missions with the whole NFT thing. And we're 38 people 4 of us are professional musicians. The rest are just people who just joined with a finger snap, or someone hit
Oh,
on
that's
the
awesome.
table, and I just paste it together to song. And I mean, just the endorphin and the happiness when they're on this song that it's actually going viral on Instagram as we speak is just like an amazing feeling to. And then on top of that, we're like doing the music video, get together in the metaverse to create that. So that's something I want to kind of bring that. And also, like when growing up, I've been playing a lot of music from all around the world, and I kind of like the idea. Something that I've been thinking about lately is that we never talked about like religion or gender or race or
Right.
those kind of things, and the combining factor was the music. So that's
Absolutely.
something I want to bring to the table too. Which I love about the Web3 space is that you can be everywhere with an iPhone and join. You don't have all like this. You don't
could
need
literally, like we've joined in so many rooms. You know, Clubhouse created and paved the way for so many of these opportunities, and obviously Twitter now opening up spaces like you alluded to earlier before, which I join constantly. And you get some engaging conversation. Somebody could be in Africa, another person could be in Australia. You're in Sweden right now. I mean, the possibilities of this collective role being played in the music world is just amazing, and it is beautiful. And I think artists should shut up and stop talking about politics and religion and using their platform and just make music. This is what we do. Just focus on that, man, because you know what? I got to tell you, nobody cares what you think as an artist, religiously or politically. So just invest your time in putting out what your passion is, which is music, and it's a universal language.
And do it together, because
Right.
that's kind of when people like just take choirs as an example. Like you never see happier faces than when people get to sing together. I mean, that's just like the best feeling to
Who
be.
don't even know each other, you know?
Exactly. So that's kind of what I'm trying to bring. And then when it comes to the tech side, Prism, who I'm partnering up with MIDI Punks, that's our collection. He has written a code where you can play the music with the use of the Alexa device. So play the music NFTs, which isn't existing at this point. And then we're making caps with a new NFC technology where you can basically hold your phone to the cap and get transferred to the metaverse. And
oh wow, that's epic.
Those are kind of instead of like focusing on the cool thing about the tech, just make people like, hey, put your phone to the cap and see what happens. And oh my God,
that's
a song is playing. That's so cool.
Right,
you know?
right.
That's what I love.
People are like flabbergasted, like, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing? My main question is the signature question of the show. You know, what's your mojo? What keeps you going? What makes you get up every day and keep creating these great, entertaining reels and keep playing the piano and keep investing your time in the NFTs and sharing your knowledge with our space? What is it, man?
I would say it's curiosity. Could be a big factor. Like
That's
I just love new things. I don't like to, and that could be like a bad thing sometimes. Like sometimes it's better to stick to one line, but I like to make a tropical house song and then
wait. Let me cut you off.
That.
Why do you think it's a bad thing? I love being curious, man. You know, you have to ask questions, but why do you think it's a bad thing? People interpret that as a bad thing, or they get annoyed by you being so curious. Like what?
I think basically people want to put you in like label.
Gotcha.
Like Justin Bieber does this, Madonna does this, and
right.
Elon Musk
Classify
does this. You know what I mean?
You, if you will.
Yeah, exactly.
I gotcha.
But yeah, that's just me. I just love to try things, and yeah, it works. And
I love
for
it,
me,
man.
so
I love it, and you know what? I'll endorse that. You know, you got to be curious. You got to ask questions. You got to find out what's new. You got to be adaptable, like we talked about earlier before. It's a huge and integral part of any person's growth. But listen, what great things do you have going on right now? How do people find you if they want to know a little bit more about Songs of Eden, man? This is all about you, so go for it.
I think the Songs of Eden is like my handle on most platforms, so that's the easiest way. And then, of course, everybody who is like interested in the Web3 space and the NFTs and so forth, check out the MIDI Punks with a set on the end. That's like the best community. That's just tons of good friends. Just
the MIDI Punks. There you go.
Yeah, and just creative people that just create together and do all kinds of fun.
I'm gonna have to join, man. So
yeah, you need to.
You guys are on Discord and everything. I know you have your Twitter rooms. You know, when are your normal rooms? Like, do you host them or do you have multiple hosts?
we usually just open up like a Twitter space and see what happens. Sometimes we're
Nice.
3 people, sometimes 300. So it just kind of goes with the flow. But yeah, of course, the Discord is a good place to find us. And yeah, it's
Awesome.
just a lot of good tech people, musicians, artists, and metaverse lovers. So yeah, a lot of crazy fun people. So that's a reason enough to join, to be honest.
100%, man. Listen, it's been a pleasure, my friend, and thank you so much for taking your time and sharing your journeys with us. And we definitely have to do this again. Good luck on tour. And, you know, hopefully someday you and I can collaborate on stage. It would certainly be my honor, man.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Absolutely. There you have it, guys. Songs of Eating. Thanks, brother. And I'll talk to you real soon.
Take care. Peace.
This has been a Mojo for Musicians podcast. If you're a musician, industry professional, or a voice with a powerful message and wanting to share your mojo and stories of success with our listeners, or simply share some feedback on today's episode, we'd love to hear from you. So send us an email at info@mannycabo.com. And don't forget to join the Mojoverse on Discord for the most powerful community of voices in the metaverse at tinyurl/Mojo Official Discord. Thanks for listening.